Greetings, brothers. Welcome to an abridged battle report. 2,000 points, Blood Angels versus Death Guard, and we're going to talk tactics, strategy, and I'll be overviewing the whole game. Thanks for tuning in. If we're just meeting, I'm John, the Blood Angels Commander, and every week on this channel we do multiple Blood Angels videos designed to make you a better Blood Angels player. If that's something you're interested in, please consider subscribing. And then, speaking of subscribers, this week we just hit 4,000 subscribers, so on Friday's video we actually have a giveaway, and I've got the kits here. We're going to give away a box of Blade Guard Veterans. We also have the multi-part Eradicators. The Blade Guards are multi-part as well. And then this new Storm Speeder. So these guys are still shrink wrapped. And just make sure you check out Friday's video. We'll give all three away. Doesn't matter where you are in the world. We'll get them posted out to you. So that's coming just this Friday to say thank you for all the support, and especially 4,000 subscribers. So this is an abridged battle report with me talking over my strategies and my thoughts behind most of the turns, how I picked secondaries, how I deployed. However, we will join the action for a few rounds of close combat or the odd phase, just so you can see some of the roles and get a feel for how this battle was going. So we're going to get into both army lists, and then I guess the key thing to say is this battle is sort of footage from just before the Death Guard Codex release, obviously because of the lockdown here in the UK. We've not been able to meet anybody inside, so haven't had any live games for a little while, but I guess this map is one of the final runouts we'll see of the Falchion Super Heavy Tank Destroyer, so let's get straight into it, and I hope you really enjoy the video. This is a variant of the Super Heavy Tank list that I have been using to great success. So we have the Primaris Chaplain on the bike, who is a wise orator. He has the Benediction of Fury, he has Mantra of Strength, Master of Sanctity, Canticle of Hate, Gift of Foresight, and he is the Warlord. Then we have a Tech Marine, who is Master of the Forge. We also have our Librarian Dreadnought with his Melting Gun, Shield of Sanguinius, Wings of Sanguinius. He has got Hero of the Chapter for his Iron Resolve. He is also the Chief Librarian, so he takes Quickening as well. We then have 2 squads of Infiltrators and 1 squad of Assault Intercessors, base loadout. Then 8 Sanguinary Guard, 3 Power Fists and 2 Infernal Pistols. The rest is just bolters and axes, some swords in there as well. Then a 6-man Death Company, and that is with 1 Thunderhammer and the rest all with jump packs. We then have 7 Vanguard Veterans, all with Storm Shields, 3 Power Fists, 3 Chain Swords, and then the Sergeant, actually, he doesn't have the Storm Shield, he has the Relic Blade and the Infernal Pistol. And then last, and definitely not least, we have the Relic Super Heavy Tank Destroyer Falchion, and that comes in at 615 points, and it has the 3 heavy bolters, it has the 2 quad las cannons, and it has a volcano cannon that I incorrectly didn't fire in close combat. This is Titanic, so for future reference, you can actually fire its main cannon, even though it is blast in melee range, right? You do not have to give up firing its main cannon if it gets engaged in close combat. So I played this slightly wrong, but I don't think it would have affected the outcome of the battle too much.
4 Nurglings in a patrol detachment, Chaos Demons, led by Epididymis, who's a happy man.
He's a character, is he? Or
yeah, he's a character.
Is he a monster as well, or just?
I don't think so. I think he's just sitting in the lead chair, you know.
Yeah, I didn't know.
No, character, cavalry, Herald of Nurgle, Plague Bearer.
Okay.
I didn't realise he was a Plague Bearer. I told him the stratagems. Okay. But then I've got a... What have I got? A battalion. I want to say battalion. I can't remember what I took. Let me have a wee look here. Yeah, battalion detachment, led by my warlord, who is this dude.
Is that Typhus?
No, he is a Lord of Contagion.
Okay.
He has the Arch Contaminator Warlord trait, which means I can reroll any wounds for plague weapons within 7 inches. He's also a Harbinger of Nurgle, which means he basically gets the reroll ones within 6 inches. Got to remember that. And I gave him a Plague Reaper as a weapon, which is like a big scythe. Basically, it's nasty. I've got 2 Plague Burst Crawlers with Rot Hails, Mortars, and I've taken Entropy Cannons on them, which are a... What's the range of an Entropy Cannon again? They're quite nasty things. Range of it is 36 inches. They're Strength 8, AP -4, D6 damage. But I've also taken a Stratagem, and I'm going to put it on, let's say, that one, who's got slightly brighter bits, called Accelerated Entropy, which means the minimum damage you can do is 3.
Okay, well.
And I've got 2 Spitties with Plague Spitters. I've got a Demon Prince who's Plague Chosen, and he has the Warlord trait Sanguinis Flux and the Epididymis Blade. Sanguinis Flux means anyone within 7 inches of him that's attacking infantry in close combat gets +1 to their AP.
Okay.
I've got a Noxious Blightbringer who has got the Daemon's Toll, which is a relic, which means that any Death Guard within 7 inches get a 5-up invuln. Right?
Okay.
Then I have 2 Foul... What the fuck are they called? I can never remember. One of them's a proxy. 2 Foul Blight Spawns, which are those lovely guys with big hoses.
Oh yeah,
Yeah, you like them. I've got 2 of them on order from eBay. I have got 3 squads of Plague Marines. The squads are all partially identical. So in one squad I have 2 Blight Launchers, and that's 2 squads with 2 Blight Launchers and a plasma gun for the Sergeant. I've got 2 squads with 2 Plague Spitters and a plasma gun each for the Sergeants. And the 2 Plague Spitter squads also have a guy with a bubotic axe, just in case I need to go chop on some Blood Angels.
Today's mission was priority targets. I'll put the map on the screen here, and this is the one where there's 5 objectives, basically 1 in each quarter and then 1 in the middle, and at the start of the game each player gets a chance to move a couple of the objectives. So you can you can't move them into terrain, but you can protect your own objective or make it, move an enemy's objective or one of the ones that is close to their deployment zone out into the open to try and set up some firing arcs. So kind of an interesting map with a little bit of strategy here on the actual placement of the objectives. So then let's move straight into Secondaries today. And if you watched my 101 Blood Angels video a few weeks ago, which I will link up at the top of the screen, then you'll know how I feel about the various secondaries in 9th edition. And the secondaries that I picked for this map was priority objective. It's a kind of a very safe way to get 15 points on this one, in that if you have something that can hold your backfield objective, you can pretty much grab those 15 points very easily. We also took Engage on all fronts, another one that I commonly enjoy and score well in. And then finally we took Oath of Moment, which, these are 3 staples for me, and very simple objectives to score, especially when you consider that as a Blood Angels player, you commonly kind of need to be in all fronts anyway to get into those close combat situations, and then also having something hold the middle. The middle is such an important part of the board. It lets you react to any different threats wherever they may be on the board. So getting units into the middle is kind of it's something that you score a lot from on Oath of Moment, and again, we don't fail many leadership tests. And this Death Guard list had characters and vehicles and even some monsters, so I figure you definitely pick up some points from the third part of Oath of Moment from that pick. So the Death Guard player also picked priority targets. He did take While We Stand, We Fight, and that was 2 of his big Plague Crawlers and his Demon Prince being his most expensive models. And then finally his third one, he took Raise the Banners, which I think he thought was going to be a very high scorer for him, with the 5 objectives, with the fact that he had a lot of Nurglings that he could spread around on the board. So I guess we'll see how he gets on with that. So as we go through battles, we'll be switching from 2 different cameras, one at either end of the board. So I guess this way we'll call north, and then when we switch to the other way we'll call south. So I was deploying on the north side of the board, Death Guard is deploying here on the south side, and then as I mentioned, we both get to move some objectives here. So I moved the objective that was up on my side further back. I don't know if that was so wise, because essentially he didn't have that much deep strike, but I just figured that I would just 100% hold that with infiltrators and zone that whole back corner of the board. He moved my objective over on the northeast, or the top right rather. He moved it very exposed, and I tried to expose his objectives because I did have my super heavy tank in this list, so I figure if he is to be exposed on these objectives, my tank can probably do some work. So you can see straight away Nurglings spewed right across the front of his lines. So later in the game, when we actually have to get charges and get in on close combat, that is going to cause some big problems. Those Nurglings with 4 bases each squad are generally just annoying to take down, and then this was pretty much my whole deployment. So the tank back middle, really that was the only place it could be. We've got Vanguard veterans in the bottom left, we've got infiltrators in that building sort of middle left. Our bike chapter master, our bike chaplain is there, kind of hiding in cover. Assault intercessors and infiltrators on like my priority one, and then the librarian and the sanguinary guard on the far right. And basically Death Guard we're going to go first in this battle, and as we move through I've put the score at the bottom of the screen so we can just keep up with that. Now anytime any movement happens, I'll put these little orange markers on so you can see what happens, and in turn 1 not so much happens. He just moves plagued marines onto both his objectives and raises some banners. And I mean, I guess it's kind of a very low scoring first turn. However, what we've done here is I've given him the 15 points for while we stand, so as we start killing off, or when we start killing off while we stand models, will reduce the total number of points he has. So in turn 1, really all the Death Guard did was raise 2 banners. He obviously got his priority objective, he got his 15 from while we stand, and he uses artillery on my Vanguard veterans. So we lost a single Vanguard veteran in that first turn. So in turn 1 for Blood Angels, we very much pushed everything forward. We pushed on to that exposed objective with both the Falchion and the Infiltrator squad. I figured that if we had some units on... If we had 2 sets of units, rather, on that objective, it did mean that if you destroyed either unit, with those artilleries or with any other unit, we would still potentially hold 2 objectives. So my first plan here was to get Shield of Sanguinius up on the Falchion, so it's very survivable, then jump Librarian Dreadnought forward 12 inches on the right flank with Wings of Sanguinius. Both powers went off, so that was good. I then used the Falchion to focus fire all the units on the top left objective, the Plague Marines and the Nurglings, and it probably is overkill to shoot a 600 point tank against Nurglings, but we did completely clear him off the objective. Incorrectly, I actually told him he needed to remove his banner here. His banner would be up because it is completed at the end of that player's turn. So I mean, we need to remember that and add on 1 or 2 points at the end of the game for Death Guard, because his banner would actually still be up here. But I mean, it was a solid play, I think, to completely clear him off this objective, just make it a bit difficult for him to score primary points at the beginning of his turn. So at the end of turn 1, we just scored 2 from all fronts, 1 from Oath of Moment, and then just 3 for holding our own priority objective. So into Death Guard turn 2 then, and I guess he really doesn't have a lot of guns in this battle, just those, basically the Plague Crawlers, so we expect to take a little bit of fire from them. And his movement here is kind of defensive, as in he brings units back across all those Nurglings to basically protect his flank from those Sanguinary Guard that obviously want to jump in. We had to do a little bit of checking here to make sure that tank was on the objective, because he did shoot away the 5 infiltrators that were on the objective, both mortar cannons from those Plague Crawlers, and then he retook his top left objective, and the little plague unit there with the red on top of it, you can see actually is a unit that I cannot target unless it is the closest enemy target. So at the end of his turn, he's got 10 from holding those primaries, the top right and the middle. He did get 1 from banners, but he should have had 1 more. He gets to keep his 15 from while we stand and 6 for holding that priority up in his backfield. So in turn 2, I'm kind of struggling a little bit here because the defensiveness of those Nurglings kind of leave me a real lack of options. However, every unit in the army is going to push forward. We're going to try and get into the middle. Like I said, that's good for Oath of the Moment. We're kind of making some sort of pincer on the right flank with the Librarian Dreadnought, the Chaplain on the bike, all those Sanguinary Guard. The tank obviously going to push up if there's no real threat to it. He hasn't actually even shot at the tank yet. So we're going to put the shield again. We made sure that the Librarian had line of sight. We'll put that back on the tank. And we actually decided to shoot at his Plague Crawlers here. And unfortunately, that Plague Crawler at the very back has a 4+ invulnerable save. And things didn't really go as planned. So the Plague Crawler survived surprisingly well. And then the next thing that we decided to look at was charges into the middle of the board, and we figured that our assault intercessors could end up charging into a squad of Nurglings. And again, the Nurglings are so difficult to shift. You would think with all those assault chainswords you would be able to shift Nurglings, but unfortunately that wasn't the case. And I actually screwed up on my pile in here and actually took one too many units off the middle objective, actually allowing him to basically obsec me out of it from his pile-in. So a really bad misplay here by myself. And then obviously the assault intercessors really didn't do the damage they needed to do either. So overall it was kind of a lackluster turn 2, and I did hold those Sanguinary Guard back. I was really scared about charging in because of obviously the relics that the Death Guard have, where he can potentially turn the fight and make my Sanguinary Guard charge last. So I figured we were going to sit and be a threat on that flank one more turn and maybe wait for Savage Echoes to kick in and hopefully do a bit more damage. So with the scoring now for turn 2, and I am quite a bit behind at the moment, we did make 10 points in the primaries, which was good. We did still get another 2 from all fronts. This turn we picked up 3 from Oath of Moment because we do have those assault intercessors fully within 6 of the middle, and we continue to hold our priority target for 6. So we do pick up a decent number of points, I guess. We are up to 24, but I mean we are still quite a bit behind. And overall, I mean our game plan has issues right now. You know, like there's nowhere to deep strike in the backfield there and really get in and kill those while we stand we fight plague crawlers. They're, one of them's completely obscured, and yeah, so as we move into turn 3 then, Death Guard now I guess will start to fan out a little bit. The one plague crawler actually moved out and decided to try and run away out of line of sight from my tank, obviously because it is a while we stand we fight unit. We have Nurglings push up basically on both flanks. We have a couple of like those little flying plague bursters, you know, appear from his backfield, and then obviously, you know, some shooting into the assault intercessors after the Nurglings fell back, and then some more charges through that you know, the breachable terrain into those assault intercessors. So the assault intercessors at this point are not long for this world. I guess they picked me up a couple of units and maybe a couple of points, but overall, you know, I guess we lost them without too much trouble. And again, another average scoring round for the Death Guard, right? He just picked up 5 points for primaries that turn, and he did, you know, he does have 2 banners up still. So again, he would still be 1 point better off. 15 for While We Stand continues, and then he does hold his priority for the 3rd turn in a row, giving him another 9. So that does move Death Guard up to 52. So we are basically almost being doubled at the moment. And now you can see from the other camera angle for a minute, so what exactly the backfield of the Death Guard looks like and how we're going to have to try and charge into this and, you know, do some serious damage with the caveat that we will probably be fighting last in multiple engagements. So when I said Plague Burster, I meant the Plague Spitters, and he has 2 of them, one in the tall building there in the middle and one on the ground, and I figured the one on the ground would be right pickings for my Leviathan Dreadnought, and I needed to get another unit back into the middle. I mean, I could have held the Vanguard Veterans there, but I felt like Leviathan could get in there, get rid of the Plague Spitter, and then, you know, it does have 2d6 shots and it can be generally quite annoying. So the Vanguards decided to move over to tackle the lone character over on that top left objective. Epidemius potentially remove his banner. The Sanguinary Guard and the Chaplain now has to be their time to move. It is turn 3. We do have Savage Echoes up. And then obviously the tank moved up again. I mean, the tank's looking to charge someone. We are a Blood Angels after all. However, I did put a toxic marker here just to note that the Death Guard have that relic in there that basically means that any unit that is within 7 inches of them is going to have to fight last, and that is going to be hugely problematic here. I mean, the Death Guard is very bunched up, but you know, like, he's giving up map control to make great work of this relic. And then because we did manage to shift that tank out the backfield, you can see just at the top of the screen, my Death Company actually arrived with a view to charging either tank, because both of them are While We Stand We Fight units. We do have a Thunderhammer in that Death Company. Maybe we can finally deal with some of this artillery. Volcano cannon at this tank.
Okay.
4 las cannons at this thing.
Okay.
Nine heavy bolters at these Nurglings,
Okay.
and then the other 4 las cannons at those Marines.
You can fire it then.
Oh, because they're
Yeah.
they're hidden. Then these Marines here, protecting the Demon Prince.
Okay.
Yeah.
Can't see him yet. Just check here.
Uh-huh,
I'd
yeah.
say so. Yeah, definitely.
All right. So volcano cannon at this big thing first.
4
4
hits.
hits. 2s.
3 hits. 3's to wound. 2 wounds. 4 ups. Good. Yeah, fuck you, volcano cannon.
4 las cannons at this thing.
Okay. 2 hits. 3. 2 wounds. 4 ups. He's good.
4 las cannons at the squad.
Who?
The same the other 4. He's got 8 las cannons.
Who's he firing at? Oh, that squad there, yeah, 1. Okay, so 1. No
Nothing.
wounds. So your 600 point tank's killed nothing so far. It's not even caused a wound, man.
It happens.
Yeah, I know, it's good.
And what did I say? All the heavy bolters at these Nurglings.
Yes, you did. All
Well,
hit.
they all hit.
2's to wound. Oh, so you'll drop 1. How many is that?
8.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And exactly 8. 5 ups. Come on, Nurglings. Not bad. 2, 4, 6, 8. So it'd be 2, 4, 6, 8.
Yep.
We've lost some Nurglings.
You have indeed. Alright, Death Company will shoot that tank with like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 pistols.
What pistols, yeah?
Yeah.
All
5
hit.
hits.
Strength.
4.
So 6s. 2 wounds.
2 saves, please.
AP.
What pistols? Nothing.
Nothing. What does it say then?
Probably be a 3.
Yeah.
Bot shield will fail some saves.
They're fine.
No, they're fine. Okay. Alright, Sanguinary Guard. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 12 shots. We will shoot.
What are they shooting?
Yeah, I'm thinking about that.
Is it Angelus bolt pistol? Bolt guns?
Yeah. 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12. We're basically shooting Nurglings. This squad here that's got
Okay.
dead ones. 2's to hit.
Ooh, nasty. Got 4 there. 2's to wound. Okay. 1 down.
Yeah,
So that is
7. Minus 1.
4, 5, 6, 7. So 5 ups. Are they 1 damage or 2?
1.
1. Oh my god. Okay. Feel no pains. Take 2 wounds, so he's down to 1.
Okay, shooting them as well with the chaplain.
Okay. 3 hits. 2. 3 wounds. 2 go through. Feel no pains. 1. Oh, he killed 1. He killed him.
Not ideal.
Not really. It's been a pretty pitiful round of shooting, to be honest, mate.
So, as it usually happens in my games, shooting is really not Blood Angel's strong suit. I mean, we can do alright, but sometimes we can just have absolutely terrible turns. And I think this was a turn where the shooting just didn't come off. However, I mean, against most armies, I would be feeling pretty happy from where we are. You know, like, we haven't really lost much at this point into turn 3, just that one squad of assault intercessors. So, we'd be pretty ready to make our turn 3 charges. We'd be able to really take the fight to the enemy. And, you know, the shooting that I usually take in my lists is usually just to get us to this position, right? And, like, I always feel like when turn 3 comes around for Blood Angels, then we kind of get this massive power spike with Savage Echoes, and we can do just generally a lot more damage. So we do actually make a bunch of charges.
Our Librarian, obscured at the moment, makes that charge into the Plague Spitter. Our super heavy tank charges a single Nurgling. Our Vanguard Veterans charge Epidemius. The Primaris Chaplain on a bike pretty much has to charge the Nurglings because we didn't manage to kill enough of that screen of Nurglings. We did have like a whole squad of Sanguinary Guard with bolters, but it just wasn't enough. So fortunately the Sanguinary Guard got in against the Plague Marines behind, but the Chaplain on the bike is very much stuck in against Nurgling bases. In hindsight here, I might have actually charged the Nurgling bases further north than he is, and maybe had the Sanguinary Guard consolidate into those Nurglings. The reason to consolidate in would just be to prevent you being shot by additional squads in the following turn. But hindsight is a great thing. So the Chaplain and the Sanguinary Guard got in down here. So now let's join some of this turn 3 combat.
You're not going to love this, mate, but all your units that are in combat with me fight last.
Which ones?
All of them. Because of these fucking annoyances here. So, yep.
Okay,
so you fight last, as if you never even charged, so I get to hit you first. For every unit, you're within 7 of them.
Okay, so I'll fight you with these 2 first, and then we can figure this out?
You fight with them, and then basically I activate my units. It was a trap, John.
The wording is you fight last. It's not you fight. It's not like back and forth.
It's like I will find out exactly what it says. It says, and I quote, Revolting Stench. Enemy units discharged this turn that are within 7 inches of this model are struck by a stench so foul they falter, losing their impetus. Such a unit does not get to fight first in the fight phase, but can be chosen to fight like other units that did not charge. There you go.
Okay, so the way this works now then is I fight with my 2 charging units.
Yeah.
Then it's like nothing else charged, so it goes back and forth.
Yeah, so then it goes to me, and then it goes to me to you, like the chuckle birds, right? Okay.
Alright.
I think John's going to need to do really good here.
Okay. Dreadnought against this guy.
Sure.
3s to hit. 1 miss. Toughness
is 7, I think. Yes, toughness 7.
John, so it's 2s to wound.
Do you lose the fight Heretic Astartes?
No, I've got that.
Oh yeah, Death to the False Emperor and that good shit. I forgot about that.
That's really good.
Yeah.
So all wound.
So there you go. You don't want to.
It's 2s to wound. I'm strength 12 plus 1 to wound.
Oh.
These are.
I see.
You need to take these separately. They're on -4, and this is -4, but it's more damage.
Okay, so I'll take the. Is it 1, 2, 5 at -4? So 5 ups. No, 4 ups. Sorry. Failed 2.
6 damage.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 4. That is 3 damage. No, 4 damage. So he's got 3 left, and then the other one is another 5 up. He's good. Got 3 wounds left.
Okay.
6. You little flying bastard. Now it's me to hit you.
Yeah,
we're going to do it with him. Yeah, for sure. Right, Lord of Contagion. Where are you? You have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 attacks with the Plague Reaver. Hitting on 2s, rerolling 1s. Strength is 6. Right. So 5 attacks, 6s. How does Death the False Emperor work?
1 CP.
Actually,
you get to.
Do you know what?
No, they do Death Guard get it automatically?
Yes.
It's on a 6. It's on a 6. You get an extra
attack. That's
an extra dice, so it's not an auto attack, it's an extra dice.
And I'm going to play Veterans of the Long War on him so that I get +1 to wound. Yeah. So I'm a Blood Angel too. 1, 2, 3, 4. So 5 attacks hitting in 2s, rerolling 1s. Just as well.
So, and those 6s are.
Oh yeah, and they're extra attacks. So these are the other ones, so they hit, and then the extra attacks. Okay, so it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Wounding. I'm normally wounding in 3s, so I'm wounding in 2s, rerolling 1s, which is just as well, because I rolled 4 1s there, because this game's trying to fucking sabotage me. Different dice. All wounded. It is AP extra +1 because he is, because of my, what do you call it, sanguineous flux. So that is it. You've got storm shields, don't you?
Mm-hmm. So I think it would just be the storm shield.
It would be AP -4, flat 3 damage each.
Storm shield saves.
Oh, you were 4 dead.
Okay.
Holy shit. Yeah, baby, yeah. Fuck you and your golden armor, you bitches. So you've got 2 guys there. Holy shit, I can't believe you just fucking annihilated them.
Alright. We'll fight with the Sanguinary next.
Yeah, you fight with them. Which one are they? Oh, the guys to the plate marines.
Yeah. And
Oof. I bet you didn't think you could do that.
5 swords. Another 5 swords, and let's pile these guys in, shall we? So what is this? Just 1 squad of 5?
Yeah, just a squad of 5, mate. I think they've seen better days here, like. You can't be in engagement range by Nurglings, mate.
Okay. I kind of want to keep some things on objective anyway, so...
That's not bad. So that means you've only got...
5. I mean, I guess this guy pushing.
So you've got 5 guys in total.
Yeah. So what is that? 2 power fists.
And I'm pretty proud of my screwing here, actually. It's been good.
Okay. And the axe. That should be plenty. So
I'm gonna hurt you next turn. It's gonna be fucking...
2s to hit on all these dice, 3s to hit on these ones.
Oh, Jesus. And they're not 1s, they're fucking 6s, which are...
He's next to the chaplain, so it's reroll everything.
Jesus Christ. Wait, everything?
Yeah. Because the chaplain has let me hit.
Sorry, sorry. I was thinking like wounds there as well. I was like, what the fuck?
Alright, so we dropped 1 power fist. No, 2 power fists.
2 power fists. Okay.
3 power fists. I guess I didn't reroll that one. There we go.
Okay, so
their toughness, what?
5.
5s. Okay, so we'll do the power fist first, so that'll be 2s to wound.
2s to wound?
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6.
So 1, 2,
minus 3,
4, 5, 6. So 5 ups because they're within the range of my dude. I pass 2, fail 3, 4. Damage.
2 damage each.
Oh, okay. So 4. So we'll go. Oh, you just rolled them twice, don't you?
Yeah.
So 5s and 5s. 3 die.
Okay.
So I will take you, and you.
Okay. So the axes, you said they were toughness 5, right?
Yep.
So 2s to wound on the axes. 5 more at minus 3.
5, so 5 ups. 3 go through.
Alright, so roll them twice.
Are they 2 damage each again?
Yeah.
They're dead.
Yeah, they're
How much damage are they?
2 damage, yeah.
Oh yeah, they're dead. Squad deleted.
Alright.
Failed. They couldn't survive it. I rolled 1 and they never made it. They died. It's a shame, but it's okay.
We're going to consolidate into your next unit of plague guys.
Oh really?
Yeah.
Okay.
And I guess we'll consolidate into the Nurglings as well, so if you want to attack with the Nurglings, you can do that.
Ballsy moves.
It is.
Plague weapons are pretty nasty.
Okay, well I'll hit the Sanguinary Guard with them. So 1... Oh, actually...
So now you need to choose who you're going to fight with.
Well, you can't hit me there, so...
No.
And you've got 3 CP, it means you can fight again, doesn't it?
Yeah, but I'm not going to.
You can't do against them anyway.
Oh, you never declared them. You're right.
Yeah.
Okay, I'll do the... Well, just do the Nurglings into these guys then. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So on 4s. And then 6s. Rolling nothing because no 1's there. So 1 wound, no EP.
2 plus.
He's good.
Alright,
Chaplain.
and what did he cast? Yeah, so he gets to reroll
What kind of save do these guys have?
2 plus, and then you're ignoring mortal wounds as well on a 5 plus.
Oh, that's cool. Don't worry about your mortal wounds. Not if you kill your chaplain, right?
Yeah, the chaplain's buffing him, correct. Okay, so chaplain is 4 attacks, and he charged, so it's 5 attacks and 6 attacks for Savage Echoes. So hitting on 2s, rerolling everything.
I'll hit.
I'll hit. And he's got
That's
that.
wounding at 2s, mate. He's just hitting Nurglings.
I bet he's got a relic that does mortal wounds.
Ooh.
Each time an attack is made with his relic on an unmodified wound roll of 6, 1 mortal wound.
No bother. So 2s, 1s, 6s. Oh, 2 mortal wounds, right? So I'll take them first. 5 up, no pains. That's a fail, isn't it?
No, I think I moved it. I think it was like that.
So I failed them, so it's 2 wounds already, and then I've got
3 damage each.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, so 5 ups.
You do get, hold on.
Yes, I get, yes.
You just get a feel the pain, right?
I filled 90% of them though, so they are 3. So it'll be 2, they're done at the end, aren't they? So 3, 1 dead,
Yeah,
2 dead, 3, they're dead.
we did.
My screen is destroyed.
It's there.
Okay.
And,
I get to hit you back with him now, do I?
yeah. Does he get profiled at all?
Oh yeah, he's profiled the fact. Let's see. Aye. Where is... I'm looking for Fire Bullet Drone. He is hitting... Oh no, it's just his strength has gone down. So he gets 3 attacks only, hitting on 4s. Oh yeah, fine. 3 hits. Strength 5, toughness 7, so it'll be 5 to wound. Rerolling. Yep, rerolling. 1 wound at AP minus 2. 3! Sanguis Fox. No, 2. It's only 2.
5 plus invulnerable save.
No.
How much damage?
D3 for 3.
So minus 1 damage because of the Duty Eternal,
So
and then
2.
Feel No Pain, 6 plus.
Nope, 2 wounds.
Nothing. Right, these guys will fight here then.
Yep.
Power Fist. And Relic Blade.
Okay.
Power Fist hitting on 4s, Relic Blade hitting on 2s.
Okay.
3, sorry. So,
It's his toughness.
What is
Only
his
5.
toughness?
Let me just check. Mr. Lord. Toughness 5.
alright, so everything's wounded on 2s. Strength 7 and strength 8. So,
Okay. So
they're
what
all
first?
the same, they're all minus 4 and they're all 2 damage, so
Okay.
6.
So 4 ups. I failed 2. And they're all how many damage?
2.
2. So 1, 2, 3, 4. Feel no pains. He takes 3 wounds, so 3 left.
Brilliant. You can fight with your Nurgling.
Yay! Yeah, let's fight with the Nurgling. So, shit, I see my wound stack, it's going to be glorious. On 4s, that is 4 hits. On 6s, you're rolling 1s. Come on, Nurgling. No, nothing.
Okay, and then you can fight with these play guys.
Oh, nice. Okay, so I can pile them in, can't I? Yes, we want to do that. We most certainly do. Because we want to make sure we can get as many of these guys as possible and punch you. See if I can weaken them a wee bit. Yes.
I think you get 4 in there.
Yeah, I don't think so.
Oh yeah, you might get the
Yeah,
last.
I got them all.
Okay.
Okay, so I'll do the bot attacks first. So it's 3 attacks hitting on 3s, you rolling 1s.
Minus 1 to hit. They're Sanguinary Guard.
Motherfucker. On 4s, rerolling 1s. 2 hits. Strength 6, toughness 4, yeah. He's rerolling everything. 2 wounds at minus 3.
Alright, so 5s.
It's just 2 damage, so
One's dead.
one's died. 1 down so far. And then we've got 3, 1, 2, 3, 4. Hitting in 3s. Rerolling 1s.
Maybe your 6s.
Oh, 6s, yeah.
Hold on. There's minus 1 to hit.
Oh, sorry.
So it would be hitting on 4s.
Okay, and 2 extra attacks at the 6s. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 4's the wound, but you're rolling everything. Okay, so it's 4 at minus 1.
Right, so 3 plus save.
Got another one.
Kill.
82 damage a piece or something.
Plague weapons. It's just these stowing shit.
Have you got extra wounds off them already?
I've got a minus 1 on them because of the Damon Prince. He's got the Sanguis Flux So he's giving everyone, all infantry, -1 AP. That's why this poor guy didn't get an extra -1. Okay, is that you? I think that could have gone better, John.
Yeah, I mean, it could have. Combat there could have gone better for sure. The fight last is just absolutely brutal, and I guess this is why in my new lists I'm really recommending people consider the utility librarian with that Veil of Time and or the whirlwind with the suppression fire. You can see just how much damage you can potentially have to deal with against some of these armies that could potentially make you fight last. I guess the one saving grace, I suppose, is he has completely ignored my super heavy tank, so it is still going to be doing a lot of damage for these final 2 turns. We do still score our Oath of Moment, this time all the 3 points. We also score all fronts for all 3 points. We continue to hold our priority objectives, and we're doing okay in primaries. So although parts of the game are rough, our scoring right now is actually still pretty decent. Okay, so as we move into turn 4, and you can kind of see that there are quite a few Death Guard Plague Marines having pushed forward towards that middle objective to maybe deal with my Leviathan Dreadnought. The Vanguard veterans obviously got absolutely decimated. Unfortunately, those Death Company Marines failed their charges. I did actually save CP for a reroll on the charge, so they're just sitting ducks out there in the open. And he basically pulls 2 characters back there to deal with the Death Company. Basically his Demon Prince and I believe that was Epidemius. I'm not sure what the other character I target earlier was then. And then one of his Plague Crawlers obviously moves again, making sure it's definitely out of line of sight of my Falchion. He contests the objective top left with a single Nurgling, and I guess he moves a few more units onto the middle objective because he didn't score very well in primaries this turn at all. I believe he just picks up 5. And then his shooting phase is actually very strong here. He does damage down onto my Tech Marine. I guess he's trying to remove him off that objective so that my tank has to sit on it and it cannot push forward. He kills a lot of Sanguinary Guard, like 5 of the Sanguinary Guard I think die from shooting, or maybe a couple less, but yeah, and then the squad's decimated. And actually the Primaris Chaplain took rounds and rounds of like Plague Marines with their sort of like heavy flamers. He just called them spitties, but they were just disgusting how much damage they would do. So the Chaplain on a bike is actually hurting really bad as well. I believe he was down to just like 1 wound when they were getting ready for the charge phase. So, you know, a lot of battles we win decisive victories in turn 3 in close combat, and it sets us up for a really strong turn 4 and 5. This battle was not that at all. This battle was me doing average at best on my turn 3 charges, and then almost like having to grit my teeth and see if we could survive out a turn against all these plagued units. And I mean, the Demon Prince in at the Death Company, he is just going to do some horrendous damage. What is he like, hitting on 2s? He'll probably be wounding on 2s, rerolling 1s, and then the Sanguinary Guard and the Chaplain are basically surrounded by like so many Plague Marines. The 5 that they consolidated into fell back, but I mean it's still a lot of units, and these guys were actually really low on health at this point. And he even charged in with his Plague Crawler over here as well, to sort of add insult to injury. So obviously the Sanguinary Guard died. The Demon Prince wiped the Death Company. He didn't even need Epidemius. He just wiped them on their own. Like, geez, how much damage does a single Demon Prince do? They are very, very scary. And yeah, I mean, it was definitely a rough turn 4 for me. And then we're going to rejoin the action while my Primaris Chaplain clings to life. 4 attacks into the tank.
Okay.
2 attacks into that guy.
Right. You sure you want to do that?
Yeah. Okay. Tank, rerolling. All hit.
Correct. Strength.
Strength is the Benediction of Fury is
+2.
6.
Well, it used to be +2.
Yeah, it's 6, so it's force wound.
Force wound, yeah. 3 wounds.
Yeah.
80.
-3.
I'll be 5 ups. 5 ups. All fail.
9 damage.
Oh dear. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Feel no pain. This could be the best roll of all time. It's not good enough. Does he explode? That's losing me 5 points, that now.
Yeah. Will this be your last game? Feel no pain?
Yeah. Well, no, I'll play Andrew this week too. So, what does he explode on? He explodes on a 5 up. Please explode. No.
Okay, and then the 2 attacks into this guy.
Can't you do that CP?
I don't have any CP.
Both hit.
Okay.
I would assume both wound.
Yep. 5 ups. 1 goes through.
3 damage.
Feel no pain. 2 wounds.
So yeah, at this point, my chaplain had been on 1 wound. We did CP a save, but honestly, that toughness 5 helps so much against like basically small arms fire, and surviving like that and CPing the save basically meant that I managed to take 5 of his while we stand, we fight points off him. I mean, in hindsight, he should definitely not have charged in with the Plague Crawler. I really think he was kind of trying to rub salt in my wounds because he'd had such an amazing turn. So the Death Guard basically stalls out a little bit here in that he didn't get so many points for his primaries, and you know, he lost 5 for while we stand, we fight. So now the score is 43 up against 55, and as we start the turn, I am on essentially 2 objectives. So we are going to be very, very close, just maybe like a 2-point game at the end of turn 5, depending on what we can score here. So at this point, I am actually going to do, you know, a bit of a strange play, but our chaplain on a bike is just going to run away into the board quadrant. He is going to essentially then score me those all front points. The tank's going to move forward to contest this objective and again try and score me my engage in all front points. And for this turn with a super heavy tank, we actually use a super heavy tank to just clear Nurglings. It's important that we like slow down his scoring for primaries in this final turn because it's such a close game. So we just basically use the tank to destroy Nurglings on multiple objectives, you can see here, and basically I mean, we did kill some Plague Marines as well, but the goal of this was to be going into turn 5 with him on as few objectives as possible. So scoring wise, we hit up an all fronts score again. We also got a couple of points from Oath of the Moment, and also we do continue to hold our priority targets. So although things have been rough in this game, I mean, I guess this is a good point where like if you take objectives that you're consistent in scoring, then you know you don't need to win every engagement. And like I said, he did ignore the heavy tank, and I guess that kind of punished him off a couple of objectives here. So his last turn for primaries is going to be a little bit lower than I guess he would have hoped. So as we move into turn 5 with the Death Guard, then you can see his Demon Prince has moved over to try and take out my Chaplain. His Plague Spitter has also moved up to try and take out my Tech Marine, who is on that objective pretty much by himself. The Plague Spitter actually fell back out of combat against my Librarian Dreadnought, who is still there in the middle, sort of hiding behind the big terrain piece there. And the score right now is literally a 1-point game. We are just slightly in front, but I mean, there is some key moments that could happen here. If he manages to kill the Librarian Dreadnought, if he manages to kill the Tech Marine, obviously I think the super heavy tank is going to survive. And I do not think that our Chaplain on a bike with 1 wound is going to survive very long against the Demon Prince. So in the charge phase, obviously a bunch of the final remaining Plague Marines consolidate or charge into the Dreadnought. The Plague Spitter charges the Tech Marine. Epidemius now decides to charge the Falchion, and the Demon Prince obviously kills that Primaris Chaplain. My Dreadnought does survive on 1 wound here, and I guess that is important. I mean, I guess that's somewhat the value of picking Iron Resolve on a Dreadnought. You know, he can just be that bit survivable, or that bit more survivable. And also, my Tech Marine actually survived against the Plague Spitter. It was profiled, and the Tech Marine is no chump in close combat. with the Tech Marine killing the vehicle, that'll give us some points for Oath of Moment in our turn. But for the Death Guard, he just got 10 for his primaries there. He would have had 1 extra for Raise the Banners. We need to remember to add that. He does have 10 while we stand, we fight models alive, and then he does continue to hold his priorities. So he managed to do that. So he ends up on 64, putting me in the position where like I basically need a single point to win the game. And we do that straight away with our engage on all fronts. And I guess like at this point, it was kind of like there's almost very little point me playing this turn 5 because we are going to get our 10 from holding 2. We are then going to get 2 from our engage on all fronts. So it kind of gives us a decent win here. But we decided to fall back so we would continue to hold the middle. Our 1 wound librarian didn't fancy fighting second against all those units. And that was kind of the final play of the game, which I have a clip now just to show you. Right, Dreadnought fall back.
Smoking.
Scanning. He's going to fall back!
Well, then I'll just get my 2 points.
What a wimp. Pathetic. I'm pretty sure you just knocked over my models in your haste to escape. I'm pretty sure that you were boxed in.
Here, have you got CP?
I do have a CP. He could have.
You could have done that pretty cool.
I know. Nah, whatever.
I mean, I could shoot the whole entire tank at your dude.
It wouldn't even kill him. Your tank's pathetic. It's done absolutely fuck all this whole game.
Alright, we're shooting him at the dude.
That's it. Bring it on.
Right,
Bring it on.
Last cannon, everything's going at him.
Yep. Well, it has to.
We'll declare that on him outside of combat because
right, okay, sure.
they can't go on him.
Last cannons, it's 3 misses, 4 misses.
Yeah,
nice.
4 hits.
I
would say that's
2
2
wounds. 5 ups. 1 goes through. 4 damage. And we'll just save some of that. 2 damage.
Right, so he's got 4 left. And the heavy bolters 2, 4, 6, 9.
9?
Yeah, all the heavy bolters.
So -1 to hit, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, 5's the wound. No, 4's the wound. That'll be 2.
2 more.
5 ups. 1 goes through. Kill no pain. 2 more.
Right, he's got 2 left.
Volcano cannon. But
shoot
didn't you? No, you declared the volcano cannon. The other dude.
Combat, yeah, can't shoot it.
Yeah. So
then
did
we
I
just
just
go
survive your tank?
Well, we go into close combat, so you get to attack first my tank, and then my tank will finish you off. It's
Really awkward, isn't it? It's hitting in 2s. All hit. Wounding in 5s. Rerolling for this weapon. That'll be 1 wound at -3. Oh, took a wound.
I take the wound.
Yep.
Attack you back.
Yep.
Hitting on 5s.
2 hits.
Wounding on 3s.
2 wounds. 5 ups. Nothing.
4 damage.
1, 2, 3, 4.
And he's dead. Thank you very much. Easy kill.
Do you remember what she says in these speeches?
It took easy kill. Easy kill. You fucking got shot an entire 600-point tank at him. For the skin of your teeth.
So we put the little skull there now for where Epidemius died because maybe it wasn't an easy kill, but I mean, what has to be said is if you are going to leave a 600-point model alive with like 24 out of 26 wounds or something, and it has that much firepower, then I actually think the tank, although Colin said that he didn't feel like it did much this game, I actually felt like it did quite a lot. Now, if we just go on to the turn 5 score then, we are now at 40 from primaries, 12 from all fronts, 14 from both the moments, and 15 for priority targets. We actually managed to score all fronts and oath there at the end of the game with like the fallback in the middle. So 81 out of 90 is a very decent score against a Death Guard army that was basically turtling, right? Like, he was basically turtling with, I guess there was like maybe 60 Nurglings around, making it very, very difficult for us to make any sort of headway in the charges. And I guess this is one of the reasons I often speak about Blood Angels having some shooting, because if we didn't have any shooting in this game, I think this would have been very, very rough. Remember, we did manage to pull them off an objective a couple of times.
So yeah, just have decided to retire this list for a little while, but it started as a fun list. And I guess it is a list that proves that Blood Angels can shoot, right? We even had a terrible turn of shooting there that I showed you the whole clip where turn 3 it basically did nothing. And this is, I'd say, like 1 in 10 times when you have, even with a 600 point tank with the Tet Marine buffing it, which actually works out like 705 points to take this combo. And I do think like it's too much for Blood Angels. Like I prefer between 400 and 500 points of shooting. But I think if we didn't have this against this Death Guard list, or at least if we didn't have 400 or 500 points shooting, if we were just a full melee list, then we would have significant problems because you've got nothing to chew through all those Nurglings. They're spread out everywhere. They're very difficult to shift. And yeah, I mean, when people play against the super heavy tank list, they're never sure whether they should go all in to try and kill the tank or if they should just ignore it. And I guess in this game, I guess Colin tried to sort of reverse psychology me, telling me that the tank was useless, it wasn't doing anything. But I mean, it was holding objectives, it was generally killing things off objectives multiple times. There was probably like a 10-point swing just by this tank shooting units off objectives. This game was actually pretty close. Remember, we needed to add him 1 more point, or maybe even 2 more points for banners, because we took one off accidentally. So I mean, it was really possibly only like a 4-point game if the tank hadn't been there tactically removing Nurglings or whatever else it was, Plague Marines in the early game, off objectives. I mean, this could be done with, I mean, I really like Redemptor Dreadnoughts, I also like Leviathan Dreadnoughts, Attack Bikes with Multi-Meltas, Eradicators. There are some very good heavy support choices that work well with Blood Angels, and I think taking like 400 or 500 points of those is essentially a better option than taking this tank. But what started as an experiment turned into like an 8-game undefeated run where people knew the list pretty much. You know, it's that small death company, the Vanguard Veterans, the Sanguinary Priest, some sort of HQ Librarian Dread, and the super heavy tank, and that is the core of the list. Obviously you've got some troops as well, but the list didn't change. I mean, sometimes we took Dante's, this time we took the Primaris Chaplain on a bike. And I mean, if I was going to run the list again, I'd probably actually take that Primaris Chapter Master we did the video on, just because I think he's super strong, and we'll put a link to him up here. But yeah, I mean, it was a fun list. I don't necessarily think it's a super competitive list, but I think if it's a list that's going to really play off the strengths of Blood Angels, in that you get good value out of having just one heavy unit with that Tet Marine buffing it. I mean, that's going to be the same for any army, Space Marine army, that can take like a very large vehicle and have something buff it. I mean, to a certain extent, Leviathan Dreadnoughts in previous editions could do this when they were up at like 330 points. Maybe not so much now. But yeah, I mean, an interesting game for sure, and a game that shows that picking smart primaries that are necessarily, smart secondaries that are not necessarily going to be dictated by killing the enemy is going to potentially win you games. If you didn't watch my Blood Angels 101 video yet, where I talk over secondaries, then you should definitely check that out. I'll put that up here as well. But you know, my secondaries are usually going to be independent of me killing enemies. I think the hardest thing to score in this was actually the While We Stand We Fight. I mean, I know they have changed While We Stand We Fight a little bit since we played this battle, but you know, if the enemy is going to hide those While We Stand We Fight units and you just can't get to them, and there's screens of Nurglings and like Plague Marines in front of you, you know, it was actually a misplay. So we talk about the heavy tank giving me those 10-point swing. It was actually a misplay by Colin that let me kill his Plague Crawler and take those 5 points from While We Stand We Fight. So at that point, this basically game would have been tied up at almost 80 points each. So maybe there was a little bit of luck in the second victory, but at the same time, like, I felt like I kind of knew what I was doing. I kind of held back for one extra turn with the Sanguinary Guard and the Chaplain, and even the Librarian Dread, so to speak. And I think that was the right call, because fighting second, if we hadn't had enough, you know, if we hadn't had those extra attacks from Savage Echoes and those extra bonuses, then if we just not done enough damage, like, we got brutalized in that turn 3, and we actually did all the charging. I mean, I guess the one thing to be said was he'd kind of given up map control, and that he'd like turtled everything around that 7 inches of the stench relic that makes you fight last. But I mean, that is something that Death Guard can definitely do, and there is something to be said about like armies that can essentially like bubble, and those bubbles are very hard to deal with. And I guess in other battles we've dealt with like bubbles of like massive amounts of eradicators when we played those 18 eradicator lists, and I think when you're up against these lists, you just have to concentrate on your game and score your secondaries and hold those primaries, and you know, if at some point you will inevitably have to engage into those bubbles, and I guess when you do, just make sure that you're prepared to be able to, I mean, although you're going to have to take a bunch of damage, make sure you're in a good position to do the damage as well. And I guess this is one of the reasons as well, while you won't see me Forlorn Fury too many times on my stream, because I think if we go Forlorn Fury, we essentially put like a lot of eggs and a lot of CP into going forward in that first turn, potentially before we can really get the full benefit of being able to back up or make those multiple charges. Like the thing that saved me in this game probably was my ability to interrupt, right? Like although he makes things fight last, it's not like everything's fight last. So if it was just like 1 or 2 units making those charges and they were fighting last, that could have been potentially very difficult to deal with. So unfortunately, we are still locked down here in the UK as mentioned, so this will be the last battle report that we have for a while. We are still hoping to get back to live games on the channel as soon as possible. I hope this was interesting, and I know this is against a slightly older Death Guard codex, but I think there's enough similarities in that like the same things will still apply, and this is why I really think that a Whirlwind or your Librarian with Veil of Time, bear in mind Veil of Time is not going to have any effect against some of the new Death Guard relics from their new codex. You're going to actually need the Whirlwind to make them fight last, because they have a relic now that will actually nullify Veil of Time as well. So I think Whirlwind pickup is going to be critical for Blood Angels, especially like if you're going up against Death Guard, then and I guess as more armies come out with their new codex, there'll be more rules for us to deal with. So yeah, hopefully you guys learned something. Hopefully it's something you can consider before your next battle. We will be back on Friday for our giveaway, so really looking forward to that video, and I hope I'll see a lot of you guys in the comment section on Friday if you want to win some of those kits we shared earlier. Alright, I hope to see you all in the next one. Thanks again for watching. Please consider subscribing if you haven't already, and I really appreciate every like that we give here on the channel. It means a lot and it really helps me grow. So thank you very much for that. Until next time, brothers, by the blood are we made. Peace.